Hey, and welcome to this very first episode of this podcast. And today I'm going to be talking about where to find your soulmate and actually how to meet him live in person as soon as possible. Hey, my name is Michelle Chung, and I'm a live manifestation expert, which means I help women manifest their soulmate live in person, offline. And I help career-driven A-type alpha women find their man so they can have the amazing, committed, and effortless relationship they deserve. You have been probably waiting for a long time to meet your guy, and you've been trying a lot, either through online dating apps, matchmaking agencies, trying to meet in person. Maybe you're doing a lot of networking, going to lots of drinking events with family and friends because I keep telling you to go out to get yourself out there. So I'm here to help you and tell you that there's a better way, and I'm going to share that with you. But the ways that we've been doing all this in the past, maybe a couple of decades, it's quite different to how our mothers went about finding their partners. So I'm going to talk a bit about that as well. But basically, the reason why I'm doing this podcast and the reason why I chose this niche was that I really wanted to work with entrepreneurs, and I was obsessed with entrepreneurship and wanting to bring this into the world and make sure everyone has enough wealth and, amazing lifestyles. And my first way into coaching was to work with entrepreneurs and other coaches in business coaching. And I knew that I loved it, but it really wasn't my forte. So I had a look at my background and I thought, okay, what have I done and accomplished that no one else has really been able to do, that I really love talking about, really love sharing with, and really want to help people in that area of their own lives. And that was actually love and relationships. So when I looked at my background, I realized I've actually been in long-term relationships. I've also been married, and I also had this love drought of about 5 years when I was single. And I just was scratching my head. How could I be single for so long when I'd been in long-term relationships? And then I recognized this was an area of my life that was really, there were high points, but there were definitely low points. And I just was trying to hack this and try to figure out how could I have been in relationships and then all of a sudden I've been single for such a long time for the 5 years that I, really wanted to focus on that. So that's why I chose this niche to help women find love, especially entrepreneurial women. I love working with strong, independent, career-minded business women because I really feel like women, we are going to change the world. So that's why I decided to focus on this niche. And the reason why I'm doing this podcast, it's been in the back of my mind for a little while. And being in the business world, a lot of your mentors will always say, do a podcast, get onto YouTube, have a platform. So I had a conversation with another woman I was working with to help her find love. And she said, you have to do a podcast. So thank you, Inga. This is dedicated for you. Thank you so much for pushing me into this. The desire that I already had deep inside. So that's why this is episode 1 now. And that's the reason why I started this podcast. And in order to also share in more detail and really deep dive, and also to have guests who have manifested their partners and how they've actually done it, and also hear from men and their side of the story, what they look for in women, and what we're doing wrong if we're not actually being in the relationship that we say we want to, and actually and get really into detail and specifics, because that's what's really going to make the difference. The specific details of your manifestation, of what's blocking you, your resistance, all these kind of things we're going to be talking about in this podcast. I also want to say another reason, you may also had experience in manifesting already. A lot of women I've spoken to are quite comfortable with the concept of manifesting. Even little things like manifesting the right pair of shoes, you walk into a shop and all of a sudden it's there, it's perfect, it's on sale, it's the right fit, it's looks amazing on you, and manifesting bigger things like clients, your dream job, your career that you want to be in, the right salary and the pay. You may have manifested your apartment. You may have manifested all these incredible, amazing things, and yet you keep wishing for the right man and wishing for your soulmate, and yet maybe it's the only thing that you've been trying to manifest and it hasn't worked for you yet. So I'm going to speak a little bit about that as well, because I guess I was going through that same thing myself. In that 5 years I was single, was having a lot of fun. I was like traveling around the world. I was on a digital nomad program for 12 months and I was in 12 different cities. So I would safely say I've dated hundreds of men in over 15 countries in the last, say, 8 years. So no, probably the last, well, I've been with my partner now for 2 years. So the last 5 or 6 years, when I was single, I've dated so many different kinds of men, and thinking to myself, if I date more, if I meet more men, then it's got to be like a numbers game, just like in sales. You just got to meet more men, and you're going to be able to find the right one out of all those people that you're dating, right? So that was my mindset. That was my thinking when it came to dating, that I just had to date more guys. And I was using online dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. I even tried an online dating app called Luxy. It was supposed to be for high level, high net worth people, and you had to like input your income, and I paid hundreds of dollars for that. I think it was like a 6 month or a 12-month membership. And I was thinking to myself, well, if if these people are wealthy, then they probably have the right mindset and the right level of consciousness. And that's the kind of people that I want to meet, not necessarily because that they were wealthy, but because they would have the right mindset and they were conscious. And that was in the back of my mind, but I hadn't really clearly specified that to myself. So when I got onto that dating app, it was like, oh my gosh, they're just the same kind of guys as on the free apps, but they're just as weird, but they just have more money. So it was quite a revelation and quite a disappointment and frustration, actually. So anyway, basically, so back to the reason why manifesting hasn't worked for you yet. So there's lots of women who've come to me and are quite familiar with manifesting, and they know exactly what their guy looks like. They've done lots of exercises with other manifestation coaches or on their own. And I believe that the main reason why that hasn't happened, that your manifestation hasn't worked for you, is because you also need the last missing component is creating a channel or a platform to receive your manifestation. So, like in business, you need to have traffic, you need to have a platform where you share your content or where you advertise, and that's where your clients and your clients, they come to you in that manner, right? If it's not through your own warm networks, whether it's word of mouth, and where you go to networking events and people bring referrals to you, on their behalf, on your behalf, it's the same with manifestation. You actually need to have some kind of channel or a platform to receive and have your man find you. That was a huge breakthrough for me, when I was looking for somebody, and I was working with my own life coach at the time, and I realized that there was after I'd done it, actually, then I'd look back on my process, and then I realized, that's the missing element. That's what I did that many other women probably haven't done. And that's where my partner, Raf, came to me. And it was through that specific event that I'd created and I was hosting. So a bit to back up about my own story, and I'm sure you're curious about it, is that I was married. I was with my ex-husband for about 8.5 years in total. And we got married in Vegas, and neither of us were very like white wedding kind of people. We didn't want to spend a lot of money on a wedding, and so my dad said, just make sure you get married somewhere. Just go to Vegas, get married. And so when my ex-husband and I were traveling around the States, we took a gap year off, and we were in California, and my cousins were living there, and we thought, oh well, let's just get married. So we got married in the in Vegas with an Elvis impersonator. So it's pretty crazy. But that did happen. And yeah, things were great. But then it wasn't until I was doing a lot of personal growth work that I realized, and I had actually a bad back injury from training capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial arts. And I injured my back and it wasn't getting any better. And I started having sciatic pain in my legs, and I couldn't walk for about a year. And that's a completely different story, but basically that was the wake up call, and it led me to start studying kinesiology and mind body medicine. I took a double diploma in 2014 in order to heal myself. But through that study and self growth, I realized that I really wasn't living my life on purpose, that my physical injuries was a reflection of my mental, emotional, psychological, and spiritual state, that I'd been twisting myself out of and forcing myself in a position that perhaps wasn't my life purpose. And so that led to the wake up call of during a kinesiology session, practice session with my classmate, that I recognized I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. And so from that, it really, everything started to change. I moved out from the place that I was staying with my ex-husband. We decided to separate, and I was, I guess looking for what was going to be the most fulfilling thing for me in my life. I already had this amazing life in Sydney. I had amazing friends. I had this great job that it was very flexible. I was freelancing as a product designer in the beauty industry, and it was very flexible, and I made good money. And I had my own apartment in Sydney, and I had this amazing bunch of great friends. I was also Latin dancing, doing bachata, kizomba souk at the Sydney dance school there. And my life was amazing. So there was no reason for me to get a divorce and go on this soul search. There was no low point as it normally seems to be. But I knew deep down, and I'm developed myself to follow my intuition quite well. And I knew that I had to do something differently in my life. I'd kind of outgrown the life I'd had in Sydney, and that the divorce, I guess, was the catalyst for me to change and grow. So now, so from then, actually, I from that point, and I had no idea that I would be single for the next 5 years. I decided to travel around the world, and that's when I was in that digital nomad program, and I was meeting lots of different people and having this amazing life. Yet and I wasn't running away, but it was more like just trying to have different experiences that, so I could, I guess, from a process of elimination, realize and recognize what I wanted to do with my life. And now I'm actually a huge believer that your soulmate will come to you once you've created the life, and you're on your life purpose. You're really aligned to your purpose in your life, and that your soulmate will be there waiting for you. And also take comfort in knowing that your soulmate is also on his life path. He's also doing his own inner work, his own internal journey in order to hear your manifestation and come to you. And that's where I'm helping women most, is to develop the intuition and also create that platform so that your soulmate can come to you, if that makes sense. So then to the part of why hasn't your manifestation worked yet? Well, you may be going to a lot of events to meet your partner, or to meet people in general. And I even had one friend say to me, "How do you look for somebody without looking desperate? How do you look for somebody without looking?" Because as we know, that manifestation doesn't work if you've got this attachment, expectation energy, right? So when you manifest, you also need to create that platform to receive. So to continue my story, after, about the fourth, fifth year, I was seriously thinking about relocating to Europe, to Barcelona in particular, because I'd heard one of my digital nomad friends say, "Oh, there's a non-lucrative visa or a digital nomad visa available in Barcelona," which meant I could work online, to my clients, my design clients back in Sydney, and also live there, in Europe. And because my work wasn't super time oriented, with a day and night difference between Sydney and Barcelona, it didn't really matter so much. So I guess I just listened to my intuition. And when you do listen to your intuition, make sure it's the space that's below, between your neck and your torso. And if the answer comes from that general area of your body, that is more your intuition and your inner guidance, your subconscious, giving you messages. But if it's the answer coming from your head area, that means you're trying to figure this out and trying to create a logical answer. So make sure when you do listen to your intuition to look for it between your neck and your hips, I suppose, in your torso area. So the answer came from about moving to Barcelona. That answer came from my heart area, or sometimes it comes from the stomach area, so solar plexus or heart chakra area. So I followed that, even though I didn't know anyone living in Spain, in Barcelona. I didn't know Spanish very well. When I traveled as a nomad, I did live in Spanish speaking countries, and I did take a couple of lessons a week to learn how to speak Spanish. But as I'd been living in Sydney for, it ended up being nearly a year before I decided to move to Spain. So I'd lost all my Spanish. So I was like, oh my God, is this really the right decision? I'd gotten my Spanish visa, and it took a bit longer than I thought, because I didn't realize that it was a bit of a longer process than what normally happens in Australia. Everything's pretty well documented. Everything's very smooth and transparent. But with the Spanish process, it took a bit longer, and I'd actually missed the flights that I'd planned to be there for the European summer, and that was in 2018. So then, about 8 months later, when I'd finally gotten my visa, I realized, I have to get there before the visa expires. And the expiry date was actually the 14th, I think, the Valentine's Day of 2019. And my birthday was actually on the 10th of February. And then I thought, okay, well, I'll have one last big birthday party, say farewell to all my friends and family, and I'll just move to Barcelona. So that was just me following my intuition. And I did that. Arrived in Barcelona on the 13th, I think, so cutting it pretty fine, and with a 2-day time difference, back flying to Europe from Australia. So I arrived there, and I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing there. I just knew that I was meant to be there, and I ended up studying at the Barcelona Academy of Art, because I'd met somebody at one of the Spanish language training events, and he was studying art at the Art Academy, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a go. And so I was designing, do my design work, and I was also studying art, and I had a pretty good life, but I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing. So it wasn't until the lockdown that I actually, a guy that I'd been dating, a really lovely Spanish guy, he invited me to stay with him during the lockdown, and I thought, oh well, I packed a bag for just a couple of weeks, and it ended up being 2 months, the lockdown. But from that, and we had a pretty good relationship. But I knew, and we both knew, that he was not ambitious enough for me. I'd always been more ambitious than my partners. And it was a pattern that was repeating itself again, where I'd meet an amazing guy, but knew that, I would have to leave sooner or later because I needed a level of not stimulation, but more like a level of lifestyle. And I wanted to make an impact in the world. I really wanted to help people, and I really wanted to leave my legacy on the world, I guess. And we both knew that he wasn't that kind of guy to do that. So during the lockdown, I'd actually hired a life coach, and I'd also followed my intuition to find her and hire her, and perhaps even manifested her. And she was an Australian who's was giving webinars online, and she said she was also a life coach. So I hired her, and from then I realized, I wanted to change my work from design, and I realized I wanted also to be a life coach, and that I wanted to have an amazing place to live. I was in between homes. I was homeless because I was supposed to go back to Australia after, the COVID, and then I was supposed to get a new apartment. And I was living with another friend, and then living with this Spanish guy. So then, she helped me manifest my apartment, and it was all down to being really specific about my manifestation and taking the action to, go to rental openings, apartment openings, showings in Spain, in Barcelona, to, check out the apartment. So I was taking those actions. And then I was, taking lots of action to meet, potential partners. And that was all on dating apps. And I was using meetup.com. That's really popular in Barcelona. And I realized I wasn't meeting the quality of men that I wanted, but I wasn't being specific about it either. So I did a really powerful exercise with my coach, because she said, "Do you know what your values are?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a new concept when it comes to looking for partners." So I did that exercise with her, and it made a huge difference. And I actually have this training as well. If you want to find your values for your partner, I'll put it into the show notes, and you can sign up and get that training if you like. And knowing my top values that were integrity, personal growth, and friendship, those are my top three. And I realized I wasn't looking for men who I would be friends with, because I was always friends with my ex-partners. I would, tell them everything. I would be completely myself, and we'd have a strong friendship as well as a, intimacy and relationship. So that was missing in these 5 years that I was looking for a partner. I wasn't looking for a friend. I was just looking for someone to be with, so I wouldn't be lonely. And it was just completely not the, way that I'd done it in the past. So that was a huge awakening to know that my strategy had changed, or I wasn't even aware I had a strategy really. So from the coaching that I was doing with my work, with my life coach, I realized I also want to make friendships with people, expats living in Barcelona, who are conscious, who are smart, intelligent, entrepreneurial, ran businesses. And most of all, what I took away from a mentor was, he said something like, "Smart people read books." And I was like, yeah, I want to meet, I want my partner to be smart and to be conscious. And I want actually someone who is more experienced and smarter than me, so I could learn from him and he could teach me stuff. And, I was always somebody who was helping my friends or teaching my friends stuff. I was always in a very different space to most of my friends. I was always teaching and helping everyone else. But for once, I wanted to be the dumbest one in the room. So I thought, okay, for my next relationship, I want to be with somebody who's smarter than me. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to create my own events and have, because at that time, the events on Meetup, the other people were hosting were like, hiking, let's go meet up for a drink, let's do a language exchange. And all those things were very hobby based or included a lot of alcohol. And I didn't want to, keep drinking to meet somebody. I was tired of all that, party lifestyle. And so I created a book club, and I thought, I want to meet spiritual, conscious, smart people that read books. And so I created this book club, and it was called the Personal Growth and Spirituality Book Club. And I had never actually been to a book club myself. I knew of the concept that you had to um, read a book at the same time together, and you got together every week and you shared about that chapter. And I realized I don't want to do it that way. I want to just make it really free and sharing, and not be, monitoring people about where they'd read that chapter. Like, just seemed really too much hard work. And I just wanted to be about fun and connection and community. And so I created that book club in August 2020. And yeah, all of a sudden people started coming, and I was hosting this event outdoors because of the COVID restrictions. We could only have like 10 people in groups at a time. So I'd have 30 people showing up to my events, and I capped it at 30 people and made sure everyone got onto the waiting list, and people would be signing up for the waiting list for the weeks afterwards. It was so popular. And then I'd yeah, and then I just kept this event going because it was really fun for me, meeting people and talking about books, because I just loved, learning and reading. And there was a couple of books that I wanted to recommend, and people were always asking me what books, I was reading and things like that. So it was just like this amazing event that I'd created, and people were coming, people were really enjoying it. People were loving it and saying how many great friendships they were making from it. And it wasn't until my 40th birthday on the February 2021, and I'd actually gotten COVID the day after my birthday, and I was sick for 3 weeks. And this book club was running, and I had a friend in town, Francesco. He's our little Cupid. I said to him, "Can you host my event while I'm sick with COVID? I don't want to let people down." So he actually took over hosting for I think a week or 2 or 3 weeks when I was sick. And that's actually when RAF came. So I'd done all the manifesting work with my coach a couple of months before. I'd been really specific, and I'd done the visualization. I used the silver method to visualize and manifest and just let it go to the universe. And then, because I'd been running the book club in the background, and I had no expectation of what that book club was going to do, but when Raf came, Francesco said to him, "Oh, the founder of the book club, she's actually sick with COVID. So come back next time and you'll meet her." And Francesco told me about this coach who'd come to the book club and said, "Oh, this guy came. He's a coach as well. You should meet him. He's really great." And so when Raf and I finally met, when I went back to hosting my book club, I saw him lying on the beach. He was in his motorcycle jacket. It was March, so it was quite cold in Europe. And I saw him, and I just knew that he was the one I'd been manifesting. And it was all because of the book club, because I'd created a platform to receive my manifestation. And I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, but I'd followed my intuition. So it all kind of comes full circle. And so Raf and I have been together for over 2 years now. We've done a lot of things together. We've traveled the south of Spain. We bought 2 cars together. We've lived together. He moved in just a couple of months later because from the first day, everything was aligned and we just couldn't stop talking. We got along really well. And I told him that I was looking for a new life coach. And then within a couple of weeks, Raf was like, "I can't coach you because we're going to be together." So it was really straightforward and effortless, just like that. And that's where I thought this is going to be my niche, because I'd actually managed to, succeed in this area of my life where I'd been trying for so long, for the 5 years, to find somebody. And then I'd kind of stumbled upon and kind of hacked this system of, manifesting and having your soulmate appear for you. So that's what this podcast is about. That's what I'm helping women to do, to manifest and actually meet their soulmate live in person. So I think that's a huge, important part, is that if you're not manifesting, if you're not receiving the results of your manifestation, it's because there's just one missing action, and that is usually to create that platform to receive. And if that's still not helping, if that's still not working, then it's also a lot of, there could be some resistance or other subconscious blocks, some beliefs that you may have that need to be cleared out before your soulmate can come into your life. So this is pretty much how it happened for me, and this is pretty much how I work with women to manifest their partners as well. So hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me some feedback and let me know of any topics that you're interested in hearing about in terms of love, dating, relationships, life, and I'll be talking more about the laws of the universe and how you can use it, bend the rules, optimize it so you can create in your life and have things manifest for you. And and super powerful. It's going to be, it's going to be super powerful. It's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to being part of your journey, and I'm looking forward to you being part of my journey as I grow with this podcast as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully looking forward to meeting you and hearing from you. And hope you enjoy and have a great week. Talk to you later.